2 years ago, Deepwoken completely fell off. The player count dropped to a measly 3,000 players during the year-long wait for the Layer 2 update. You'd think it was because something bad happened, but there was no drama or bad updates. In fact, exactly nothing happened. With no release date and sneak peeks for the next big update, the game seemed doomed. It was so bad that Argamatsu had to make a video reassuring people that the Layer 2 update would be worth the wait.
I understand why you guys are fiending for content. Trust me, I am. But we must remain strong, valiant. We'll get through it. Just stop crying, bro. We gonna be eating good enough. We gonna be eating good enough soon, bro.
Fast forward 2 years to today. Deepwoken did the impossible. The player count is now high for seemingly no reason. It's 5 times more even though Conquest is taking way more than a year. The situation is even worse than 2 years ago. But the player count is way higher. How is this even possible?
Actually, it's obvious. It's clearly the weekly updates.
No, it's not. Because we still had weekly updates 2 years ago when the game had only 3,000 players. In fact, a lot of the weekly updates might be even harming the game. Then obviously, the only other answer is the Layer 2 update. It's Deepwoken's first big update after all. But nope. It's not the answer somehow, because the player count dropped down to nearly 3,000 again, right after the Layer 2 update. Instead, it's because the devs did something that a good chunk of the player base went apeshit about and hated. They made the game way more new player friendly. Turns out, less new players quitting means a higher player count, which is not obvious to the Deepwoken community for some reason. I kid you not, some people were genuinely mad when the tutorial was added. These are real, talking, living human beings that we have to share oxygen with. Let that sink in for a second. It's easy to forget, but we've got so many quality of life changes in the past 2 years to help new players. Like the instant wipe option in Trial of 1 for PvE practice, inventory searching, being able to spawn ships anywhere, progressing oaths with knowledge. All of those add up and make the game better for everyone, but especially for new players. And most importantly, we got changes that were specifically made for new players. We got the map and tutorial, which is actually huge for new players. It's just that it didn't matter as much until recently, because before this, there simply weren't enough new player-friendly changes for it to increase the player count. But now, they're all adding up and slowly increasing the player count, even though we don't have big updates anymore. If you're still not convinced, I honestly don't blame you, because their effects aren't immediate. It won't increase the player count directly and immediately like a new Oath update would, but it keeps the new players and grows the game long term. Unlike the average weekly slop updates we get. Weekly slop content is borderline useless if you zoom out a bit. It's only useful for 2 hours of entertainment. It's gone once you get the new OP weapon or oath. But the quality of life and new player-friendly changes continue to help the game even years after it's added, which is why they all add up and slowly increase the player count. However, this is only half the puzzle. If you look at when the player count started slowly increasing, it was in October. And guess what happened in October? We got Battle Royale. And guess what Battle Royale is? Again, it's content that continues to help the game, unlike weekly slop updates. Basically, another reason for the player count increase is the better replayability we've been getting recently. We can now choose between Battle Royale, Layer 2, the Diluvian mechanism, guild leaderboards, and Chime Milo that now resets every month. But Firranos, you just said Layer 2 didn't matter earlier. Yes, I did, and it indeed didn't really matter at that time specifically. But now it does matter, since there's now enough other replayability for it to all add up and increase the player count. If you think about it, having more options reduces boredom a lot. Since when you get bored of one thing, you can simply switch to another. If I get bored of Layer 2, I can grind Elo and Chime. And when I get sick of the disgusting Chime dwellers, I can play some Battle Royale on the weekends. However, not all replayability is created equal, and I think this is the final piece of the puzzle as to why the player count is so high despite no big updates. Out of the 5 things that are replayable, 2 of them are far superior. Chime of Conflict and Battle Royale. That might sound odd, mode, since Layer 2 and Diluvian gives better rewards, but hear me out. Chime and Battle Royale are the perfect combination of new player friendliness and replayability. They are both a risk-free environment where you can learn PvP, and what weapons and mantras are in the game. The only thing they don't teach you is PvE, but you have the trio of one and Lightrock for that. Even if you ignore everything I said in this video, it's clear as day that Battleground games are the meta on Roblox. Chime and Battle Royale are pretty much Battleground games if you think about it. The Battleground games literally have Chime too. They have ranked 1v1s with Elo, just like Deepwoken. I'll put my tinfoil hat on for a second, but hear me out. I think this is also the reason the devs chose Conquest over World events, even though it lost the vote. Other than the obvious increase in player count, Roblox gives a lot of stats about players to devs, and they probably saw higher numbers. Stuff like how long players stay in game, and even how many new players and returning players you get. My guess is that the devs saw a huge increase in important stats like that, so they decided new game modes like Battle Royale is where the money is at, which is why they ditched world events for Conquest. Despite Conquest pretty much taking 2 years, Deepwoken's future isn't doomed yet. Realistically, Deepwoken should be dead right now. Everyone knows, including the brain-dead bandit beta players, that no updates equals dead Roblox game. But Deepwoken still gets at least 10,000 players. When we get an actually good update, like world events and the Void Tower, Deepwoken will reach a new peak. Subscribe for more content like this, and see you later.